Alrighty, we're right back at it again. Just like I've always said, if you're too cool for school, I ain't here to make no friends. And we're talking about everything I've ever finished. Uh, we last did Daraka no Manazashi, so that means next up is Dead Man Wonderland. Dead Man Wonderland is a cool show, a far better manga, I think. Um, I also think it's kind of the story that's better told in a manga because it's got like these like cool gore elements to it that I feel like sometimes with anime the visuals kind of take away from it and make it like less, I don't know, impactful. And I think this show is an example of that. I think Manglobe I think got this. Yeah, Manglobe I think kind of fucked this up. Like I feel like this should have been like I don't know, maybe like a different studio or something because whenever the characters are fighting with their blood, like it never struck me as like they're actually like fighting with blood. Like it always just like seemed like this like magical shit. And yes, I know it's magical shit that they're fighting with blood, but it never had like the viciousness or the like disturbing nature I would assume I imagine with people fighting with their fucking blood. And it's inventive in the ways that people actually use their blood as like weaponry and stuff like that. But the show was too short and it wasn't very popular in Japan, and the mangaka got pregnant in the middle of writing it, I believe. So then it never really got a season two, and it ends on a cliffhanger. And then it gives you a really shitty OVA about like this other character guy that's not the main guy. The English dub is okay if you like Monica Rial and Greg Ayers. I don't mind either of those people, but I know people that hate both of those people respectively. And both of their voices are in this. The manga, as much as I don't mean to shit on this story all that much, it's just I feel like the anime was kind of a letdown. I have it a 7 out of 10. I might give it like lower if I like rewatched it. But the manga is really good. It's the first manga I ever finished. And it's got these really cool like black white color scheme that look like prison stripes. And the manga tells a far better story. There's a lot more dead men characters in the manga, and a lot more like cooler, more interesting powers. Um, but yeah, the anime is kind of a letdown. Death Note. Death Note is, you know, I feel like baby's first anime in a lot of for a lot of people. Like it's their first big thing that reeled them into the medium. It was not for me. I had already seen a couple anime to completion even before starting Death Note. Um, and I didn't even finish Death. Like I when I first watched Death Note, I watched like a little bit of it and then stopped, and then I finished it like sometime later. And then I rewatched it like a year or so ago, maybe 2 years ago. But it's a really good story. It's decent length. It's 37 episodes. It probably could have been shorter. I feel that the anime really has a weak second half. There are characters introduced in the second half that are not nearly as interesting as characters introduced in the first half. However, that being said, the ending is very cool, and kind of what I expected, what I was hoping would sort of happen. And it's a cool like dark tale. Like I think a main character that a lot of people are either going there's gonna be like a split. You either really relate to Light or you dislike him. I'm of the latter. But I can see how a lot of people, especially in their teenage years, would side with a guy that can kill people with a notebook. But yeah, it's an alright show. There's live action Japanese films of this that tell a better ending, in my opinion. Um, Death Parade. Not oh, by the way, not the live action American film. That kind of sucked. Um, Death Parade. Speaking of stuff that kind of sucks, which is gonna trigger people. This show was so hyped for me, and I should have known going in that this was not gonna be my cup of tea. Like this is like I don't know. It's just like that. I hate like the episodic life lesson show. Like I don't know if there's like a subgenre, like a name for that I'm just like not thinking of or I'm not smart enough to know. But like stuff like Twilight Zone and parts of Kino's Journey, as I mentioned, and this show, I just find uninteresting. Like I don't like the lesson learned in 20 minutes kind of deal. And it's just like you're introduced to a character, you learn a little bit about him, and then there's a cool twisty ending. And wasn't that cool? Yeah, let's never talk about that again. Okay, move on. I don't like that. I like narratives that cover somebody like kind of start to end, or like I mean this show does make references to like the others, like there's several stories being told and there's some references to like one story reference another, but not enough for me. And even the story, like the backbone story that's going on with like the bar and everything, I just did not find interesting. I hate this main dude. And I really wasn't even into like the main girl character. It's just I didn't like anybody. Aesthetically, it's pretty pleasing. It's got a catchy theme song. OP. It's got a catchy OP. Cool character designs and a sort of interesting setting, but I just was not into how it's told. Devilman Crybaby. This was, for a lot of people, anime of the year when it first came out back in January, and for good reasons. It's pretty good. Maybe not the. I don't watch a whole bunch of seasonal stuff. I did watch this all in one day when it came out because it was really fucking cool. I still give it like a 7 out of 10. Like, there's still stuff I don't like about it. It's by a great. I don't know if he actually directed this or did he just do. Yeah, Masaki Yuasa. Great director. Kimono Zume, Kaiba. I have not seen Tatami Galaxy, but I know it's highly praised. I have not seen Ping Pong, the animation, and I know that's highly praised. But I have seen Devilman Crybaby, and man, that guy is a good director. I may not like his art style all the time. He does have this really weird fucking art style, and Kaiba and Kimono Zume had like the same thing. But it adds some intrigue to it. I'd like stuff to look more. It's gonna sound boring. I'd like stuff to look more typical anime-y than like inventiveness does not like go far with me, which is why I'm not a big fan of Studio Trigger. But not that this is like Trigger. This stuff is way better than that. Devilman Crybaby. It's a cool story. It's a cool like nihilistic tale, and it's only like it's like one iteration of this big franchise, I guess. So this is the only one I've seen, and it's got some likable characters. It's got some cool action scenes. A very adult anime. You got a lot of nudity and sexuality and violence. And if someone says anime is for kids, you can show them Devilman Crybaby. I don't even know why I'm really talking about this. I forgot I did a review of this. Oh man, I did a review of this. Check it out. But I basically say everything that I just said. Yeah, it's pretty good. Durarara! I'm going to cover all this in one go. Durarara is, season 1 specifically, is one of my favorite anime of all time. And mostly because I love how the story is told. The complete opposite of Death Parade. Like, this is, like, Death Parade is this, like, not whimsical, but, like, this dark fantasy fucking like parallel world bar, which should be wicked interesting, but it's not. And Durarara takes place like in a real place in Japan, in Ikebukuro, a place I've been to, by the way, with just insane characters that obviously could never really exist in real life, but it's oftentimes the down to earth people, like the realistic humans in the show, that are the most interesting. And what Izaya always says is correct: is humans are so interesting in this show. And it's just Durarara, if you don't know, is if someone were to just ask me to describe it, I would say it's not specifically about an individual story. It's about a city and the people, or a section of a city, about the people within that setting, interacting, living with one another's actions, and sort of that bouncing off of one another, and characters choosing to do certain things and take certain actions, or to not take certain actions, to observe things, and how that affects others within this community. And that's kind of a boring way, I suppose, to describe it, but you take that premise and then insert, like, headless motorcycle riders and fucking girls who are actually swords and knives and shit, and bartenders who can throw fucking, like, mailboxes and light poles and have, like, superhuman strength. And this is a cool, like, Shizuo is a cool bartender. The fucking guy in Death Note is lame. He's not really a bartender, he just dresses like one, but whatever. Yeah, it's a cool show. It's got some cool action in it, but it's mostly about, like, the dialogue and the characters and the events that take place. As it progressed, was not as big a fan of Season 2. Which is sad, because Season 2 actually provides, like, a proper, maybe not an ending to all of, like, the manga and or the light novels, rather. And everything, but it does, I mean, it has an ending, whereas Season 1, you kind of want to dive into Season 2. It's just once I got there, like, it started to ramp up the craziness, and like I said, the people that I like most in this show are the humans, are the people that are most normal, I would say. The others are interesting to see from a distance, and it's interesting to see how they react. Like, I love Celty and, I can't remember the doctor's name. Shinra. I love Shinra and Celty's, like, relationship, and she's obviously not a normal human and everything. I love that part of it. But it got into, like, a lot of, like certain characters would be doing some stuff, and I'm just like, why are we doing this, and why are we spending 20 minutes on this? And I grew to kind of dislike Mikado, the main character. My good friend Art of Anime has a very good video about Mikado. But I wasn't big on him, and I mean, I'm usually the guy that sides with the antagonists and stuff anyway, but I don't know. Because I disliked him, and because Season 2 starts to focus a little more on him, I just wasn't as interesting as it ramped up. Apparently, I gave it all a 10 out of 10, though, because I think I marked this when I first watched it, and then, I don't know. Your mind changes after a while. Elfen Lied. I did a video on this on an old YouTube channel way back in the day. It's pretty good. It's a notoriously violent show. It's got a lot of really weird, creepy stuff going on, and you can tell the guy that wrote this is the same guy that wrote Goku Koku no Brynhilder, is, like, fucked up. Like, he likes, like, young girl nudity and girls, like, peeing and, like, weird fetish shit, but he also writes a pretty good, like, horror story, like, or sci-fi violence story. I really like Lucy. I don't really like the main guy in here, Coda. He's got this weird incesty kind of thing going on. Like I said, there's a lot of, like, weird fetishy stuff here. But this manga is finally actually going to get printed in English or reprinted or something. I might be interested in reading it, but the anime is, I think, okay to watch once, and then when you rewatch it, you kind of notice more of its flaws and realize that it's not that great. But it's also, like, I think, the victim of a lot of bullying on the internet. Like, it's not that bad. Like, people are like, oh, I can't believe we liked Elfen Lied. That thing is shit. It's really not that bad. Like, it's a short, like, it's a concise story that is, you want a lot of questions answered to you throughout, and it only digs in, like, a little bit on certain characters, and I wish you would know more. I mean, it'd probably be better if it was, like, 26 episodes, but that didn't happen. But Elfen Lied, not as bad as some people may tell you. Eureka 7, I have a video about this, not a review. That was back when I was, like, doing, like, more, like, analysis-y kind of videos. You can check it out. My channel is called Eureka 7 Maturity, Love, and Melancholy, I believe. But Eureka 7 is also one of my favorite anime of all time. This is an epic coming of age story in this like sci-fi world of people piloting mechs and interaction with alien species and just a lot of cool shit going on. It is fucking great. You have this main character named Renton, voiced by Johnny Young Bosch, who goes from having nothing except the reputation of his deceased father, and yeah, he has to live up to certain expectations, and he starts by having nothing, and he joins this like rebellious group called the Gecko State, run by this really fucking cool dude named Holland, and the robots in the show, and they like surf on the air, and it's this great mix of like hippie mentality with like sci-fi shit going on. Like there's like a lot of like monologues about with the characters on the Gecko State, like talking about how like they're like truly free and shit, and like peace is like the most powerful thing, and peace and love will conquer all, and kind of that stuff. And then there's also like the weird. If I didn't like anything about the show, it tries to get like overly complicated at times with like the alien sci-fi shit that's going on and how it's all like interwoven with the story. It probably could have been a little shorter. It's 50 episodes. Never seen anything else from this. I want to see the movies that are coming out, but I've been told that the sequel, or whatever it is, AO, is garbage. But this show has fantastic romance elements, awesome action, awesome mechs. You gotta check out Eureka 7. Not enough. And yes, it is Eureka 7, by the way. It's not Eureka 7. Like, if you say Eureka 7, that tells me you never watched the show. Because in the show, they literally say Eureka. Because that's her fucking name. And that pisses me off. Evangelion movies. These are like the first one and the second. The first one's like first couple episodes of the show. Thought it was pretty good. Has some solid animation to it. It was good to see Eva retold. And I love Evangelion. I still like the original series more than these. 2 starts to get away from the story a tad. And then by the 3rd movie, we are fucking foot on the gas pedal with a whole bunch of different shit. Like, I mean, I think in the 2nd movie they actually start to introduce more characters, but there's more characters introduced in this one, and a fucking way different story than was ever told in the show. It all looks visually appealing. It's production, I think IG did these. Oh, no. Oh, is it Guy? Oh, okay. I thought IG like did the movies or something. I guess I'm wrong. Guess I'm stupid. So never mind me. It's still Gainax. Yeah. I would preface all of these by saying watch the original series first. Because it's fucking better and it's one of the greatest anime of all time. Speaking of greatest anime of all time, this is a show that a lot of people will probably say is one Fate Zero, but I disagree. I think it's meh. I don't think it's that fucking interesting. I think I only watched like season 1. I think because I think it's supposed to be 26 episodes. I don't know if there's like a Fate Zero 2 or something. Fate Zero 2nd season. I might have watched that. I just don't fucking remember. I don't know. This is a long time ago, and I really didn't think it was that interesting. It's beautiful, just like Haru no Kyokai. Maybe the same studio as that. It's gorgeous looking, aesthetically super pleasing, lots of fucking gradients and shit. Some cool action, but not many interesting characters in my opinion. And a lot of dialogue. Like way too much dialogue. Like the whole first episode is like 40 minutes of people just talking. And you can't have your first episode be like that. Like you just can't. Like no. I don't know, man. Fate Zero, not my cup of tea. I know a lot of people like it. I have never played any of the games. I'm never going to. Just not something that I'm into at all. And there's like a million Fates now, so if you want to see everything, good luck fucking catching up. I'm gonna stop for now before this video ends up too long. We'll talk about Fooly Cooly the next time. Thanks.